What's that? A script? Left the door open. One of the questions I get most often as a history teacher is, why do we study this? Only it's normally coupled with phrases like, history's so dumb, I hate history. Or even, I'm never going to use this in my everyday life. Why do I have to do this? The list goes on. It's a difficult question because for a long time in my life, it was one I never actually asked. Didn't need to. Because I loved history. So studying it was easy. But in high school, I started to look around at all my peers who hated history and wonder why. It would be really easy to just blame the student, right? Maybe they're just too dumb or too lazy. But at the time, I was a student, and I was wondering about my peers at the age of 14. And what I realized then was that if I wanted to understand their complaint, I first had to consider it valid. So I asked myself, what is the purpose of history? What is the purpose of this thing that I love so much? Because maybe it doesn't have one. So I proceeded to think about it for the next decade of my life, all through high school, all through college, until my first year teaching history, when I was faced with a group of students who were demanding to know the answer. History is defined by Oxford as the study of past events, particularly in human affairs. Additionally, the word history is derived from the Greek noun historia, which simply means inquiry or research. The term history has also been taken from the German word one of the two. Pronounce it at your own risk. Which means an intelligible and significant narration of the past events. But none of these really tell us what history does. Only what it is. In my life, I have often heard history teachers answer the student's question of why with the version of the following platitudes. Those who don't know the past are doomed to repeat it. Or, we study history because the stories are cool. Or a variation of this E.H. Carr quote, history is an unending dialogue between the present and the past, and the chief function of a historian is to master and understand the past as a key to the understanding of the present. And the student, upon hearing these phrases, are generally left unsatisfied. Because just like the earlier quotes, in the end, all such words do is tell the students what history is, not what history does. And it perhaps most importantly does not tell the student what history does for them. The fastest way to kill a student's love for learning is to waste their time. So if you've made it this far, thanks for sticking around. I promise I'm about to get to my point. The question is, why do we study history? Which is to really say, what does history even do? Anyway, to me the answer is simple. History builds character. Let me explain. Day one in my class, the first thing we cover is our operational definition of history. It's the framework for our entire approach to the timeline of humanity for the rest of the year. It goes like this. History is a study of concepts and their effects on people. So concepts like imperialism, which leads to World War I, or pride and revenge, which lead to World War II. Perhaps we discuss natural rights or abolition, racism, sexism. We study how concepts such as these affect the world, leading to prosperity and growth, or death and paranoia. Because once I have seen the effects of human ideas on other human people, I and you are then equipped to make the following judgment call. Do we internalize the concept within ourselves and make it part of our belief, or do we reject it and file it away under dangerous? History helps us all understand who we want to be and why we want to be that way. History builds character.